What is up, guys? This is OG Hoenn Champ here, and I'm bringing you the team builder for week 4 of the UBL. Now, a couple things I want to just mention before I get into this. Yes, I know this is week 4. What happened with week 3 was the coach that I'm supposed to verse, who's Sparky Plays Pokemon, has been inactive for a couple weeks now, and no one can get in touch with him. And, as much as I hate to take forfeit wins, I kind of had to in this case because there was just no way to contact him, and he hasn't played a single game this season. So maybe if he shows up later in the season, I'll see if we can make up that game against him, because I really hate forfeit wins, but what are you going to do? The good news is that means that your Phoenix Sunkern are now 3-0. Super exciting here. But again, we are now against Mad Archer and the Tennessee Trevenants. So without any further ado, let's jump right into his team. So actually this week I'm going to start out with his Mega, which is Mega Alakazam. Now this thing is scary. First of all, it hasn't been taken down yet by any Pokemon in all of Archer's 2 games. And it has a +4 differential. By the way, Matt Archer is the only other coach so far this season who's undefeated. So one of us is leaving this next match with a loss, and one of us is leaving still undefeated. So really exciting. At least at the time of this video, who knows? He hasn't done his week 3 match yet. So if he does that before this, then we'll see then. But as of right now, he is undefeated. We are undefeated. We're looking forward to this very much. Okay, so his Alakazam has really been putting in the work for him. He's brought it to both his games. It's done so well, and this thing is scary because it destroys Mega Venusaur. This is like his main Mega Venusaur check, and it's actually terrifying. I mean, it gets great speed. It outspeeds even some choice Scarf users. It gets access to a whole ton of coverage moves, like besides Psychic and Side Shock, it also gets Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, Dazzling Gleam. What else does it get? Energy Ball, Signal Beam. It's actually crazy. This thing has so much coverage, and it's just so fast. And its ability Trace it lets it copy the ability of the opponent Pokemon that it is against. I don't see that being too much of a problem against my team, unless he copies Jirachi Serene Grace and gets the special defense drop on Shadow Ball or something. But I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, something like that. But still, Alakazam has incredible wall breaking and revenge killing potential, and that makes it very, very scary. Alright, so next up, his OU picks are Heatran, Staraptor, and Latias. So Heatran, really great Pokemon all around. It has the 4 times weakness to ground, but basically Heatran is one of those Pokemon where if you're not hitting it super effectively, you're really not hitting it at all, because this thing is just so bulky, especially in special defense. And it can hit hard too. Although, sorry for that blip. But yes, Heatran is very bulky, especially special defensively. And it also has very nice special attack as well. And the coverage to use it, it gets Magma Storm, Fire Blast, Earth Power, Flash Cannon, even Solar Beam if you have the sun up. I don't think he'll have Solar Beam, but it's always a thought. Let's see. Next up is his Staraptor. Staraptor is a really scary Pokemon, especially if it's choiced, because it gets access to Reckless, which boosts the power of its attacks that do recoil damage, and Brave Bird and Double Edge, all of which are stab. So you get Reckless, Brave Bird on anyone on my team, especially Mega Venusaur actually, and that'll just hurt. It just hurts so much. I fully expect this thing to be scarfed though, just to patch its fairly questionable speed. It's at, I think it reaches 100 base speed, so like it's considered fast, but it can get outsped by a couple of things. Anyway, next up is Latias, another threat to Mega Venusaur. God, so many threats. Yes, Latias is one of those Pokemon that you just don't know what to expect from it. It could run bulky boosting, it could run bulky defog, it could run offensive defog, or it could run offensive boosting. I don't know, with Draco Meteor, it could run Life Orb, Calm Mind. It could even have Choice Scarf and just be a revenge killer. Really, the possibilities with Latias are endless. Generally, you see it more as a bulky Pokemon just because it has more bulk than Latios, but in the league format, it functions as both because you can't have Latios or Latias. You have to choose one in the beginning of the season if you get lucky with it. So, yeah, those are his OU picks, and his OU picks are scary. He hasn't brought all three to a match yet, but I think if there's one that he's going to, it's going to be mine, just because they actually work pretty well together, especially against my team. So I'm really kind of nervous about that, but I think I have the good responses for them. Next up are his UU picks, starting with Galvantula, standard web setter, nothing too special. Gets Bug Buzz. With Compound Eyes, it almost always hits Thunder, which is good for it, not so much good for me. But a lot of times people like to run Focus Sash to get their sticky webs up 100% of the time. Unless Rock Blast. But yeah, that's a possibility. Don't think he's going to bring Galvantula, but he might. That would not be the worst thing in the world for him to bring Galvantula. There will only be one problem with it, and I'll explain that later. Next up is Crocodile. That's a scary Pokemon. That is one I do not want to face. Okay. Crocodile can basically destroy my entire team, especially a Scarf set. Because Earthquake and Knockoff just does a lot of work against my team, especially Earthquake. But I think I had the responses for it, as long as I just have to revenge kill it, is the thing. I can't really switch anything into it, except I do have one response to switch into it, but that's it. It's a very scary Pokemon, one that I do not like facing ever, because it could be Moxie, it could be Intimidate, and it's just a scary Pokemon to go up against. Anyway, next is Empoleon, rounding out his UU picks. That's a pretty cool Pokemon. He has a lot of special defensive Pokemon already, but the thing about Empoleon is that it's more reliable with Defog, in my opinion, than Latias, and it also gets access to Stealth Rocks at the same time. So he might bring that over bulky Latias and bring like special attacking Latias instead. And he also dropped it. He dropped Reuniclus in favor of Empoleon, so it leads me to believe he might bring it this week. He hasn't brought it yet, but he might. Yeah, and speaking of drops, he also dropped Magmortar for Skuntank, so he got rid of some major special attacking presence in favor of more bulk, which I think is interesting. But I can understand it, seeing as he has a lot of special attack presence already between Alakazam and Latias. But anyway, going on to his next Pokemon, Spiritomb. Spiritomb serves as a great check to Pokemon like my Terrakion, like Donphan, simply because I can't do enough damage to it to one-shot it, and it can just strike right back with stuff like Will-O-Wisp, stuff like Pain Split, stuff like Sucker Punch, even Shadow Sneak. Very annoying Pokemon to face. And what it comes down to is that I'm going to have to handle it with some special attackers. And there's not much else for it. I think there's a good chance he'll bring Spiritomb this week, just because it does fairly well against my team. The only thing is, if he expects me to bring Mega Venusaur, Venusaur walls it like there's no tomorrow. It's great. Next up is Sceptile. Sceptile's in the same deal with Spiritomb, except in an offensive way. It gets walled so hard by Mega Venusaur unless it brings Acrobatics. And that's something I'm a little bit scared of, but at the same time, I think I have a bit of a surprising tactic. And I think I can handle Sceptile. Since it's not Mega Sceptile, it doesn't get Lightning Rod, so I can paralyze it pretty easily. And it's not the greatest bring against my team. Let's put it that way. Even with Unbird and Boost. So next up is Diancie. That's actually spelled wrong. We have Diancie. Pretty good Pokemon. Not so much against my team because I have Jirachi with the 4x Steel weakness. So he could bring it for dual screens, maybe for Stealth Rocks, maybe for Moonblast, which hits my Hydreigon for 4x super effective damage. It's also his only Fairy type on the team, so there's always a chance he'll bring it to block some Draco Meteors. But otherwise, I have the responses for it. It's not too much of a threat, I think, to my team. Next up is Skuntank, the Pokemon he picked up in favor of McMortar. Skuntank is another Defogger. So he has 3 on his team. And no Spinners as far as I can see. Oh, actually he has 4 Defoggers on his team if you count his Staraptor. But yeah, he has Hitmonchan for Rapid Spin. Anyway, Skuntank is a pretty good defensive Pokemon, but it also has a bunch of offensive presence, and between its Fire-type coverage as well and its Dark-type moves, it could pose a problem for Jirachi. However, Mega Venusaur does wall this thing out like crazy, and Pokemon like Terrakion can take hits from it pretty well, get some boosts off with Justified. Even Donphan can take a bunch of hits from this thing. I mean, it's really not a Pokemon that hits super hard. So I don't think he's going to bring Skuntank this week. I'd love it if he did, because I would be able to switch in a couple Pokemon and start setting up, but I don't think he'll bring it. So next up is Hitmonchan. This guy is kind of scary, just a little bit. I think that I have the tools to deal with Hitmonchan, but he might bring it to get the Mach Punch priority on things like Terrakion, on things like Hydreigon that do not take it well. And he might also bring it for Rapid Spin. Who knows? He might use Sticky Web's Galvantula and not want to use Defog, so he might bring Hitmonchan. The good news is Hitmonchan has like 0 defense, so it really is not going to be taking hits all that well. Maybe on the special side, it can handle him a little bit better, but overall, it's a questionable bring for him. Next up is going to be his Lantern. Lantern is just, in my opinion, it's just a bad Pokemon. I don't like it. Using it has almost never worked out for me. The only positive thing it has going for it is Water Absorb and Pulse Absorb. So it's at least able to recover some health, but it has decent special attack, decent health. Defenses are not that great. Speed is awful. I don't expect him to bring it. I don't think he should bring it, seeing what my team is, especially with all the ground coverage I have. But, I mean, we'll see. He might bring it, he might not. I don't think he'll bring it, but you never know. So, without further ado, let's get into our team. So, we're starting off with Noxious. Yes, we are bringing Volbeat this week with the Focus Sash. And, again, no attacking moves. This is full specially defensive. Tailwind, Tail Glow, Baton Pass, Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is to cripple a lot of his faster threats, like the Mega Alakazam, like the Latias, like the Staraptor. Unfortunately, if I could paralyze the Crocodile, I would, but I can't do the ground typing, so Instead, I also have Tailwind to boost the speed of some of my slower Pokemon. I actually have an interesting strategy with Tail Glow, Tailwind, and Baton Pass that I will bring up later. So yeah, that's Volbeat. My setup Pokemon. I don't know if I'm going to lead with it or not yet, but we'll just see what Pokemon he brings. Next up is Farah, the Terrakion, rocking the Expert Belt this week instead of the Life Orb, and the reason for that is I need to get this thing in on something and set up a Rock Polish. If I can set up a Rock Polish, I can pretty much sweep his team, which is ridiculous. This thing is just so powerful. I mean, X-Scissor takes care of the Mega Alakazam, takes care of the Latias. Close Combat takes care of like stuff like the Empoleon and the Crocodile. Even the Keatran and Stone Edge will clean up the rest of them, like Staraptor, that sort of thing. And with the Rock Polish up at +2 speed, even though I have 0 speed, I have 4 speed investment. Even though I have 4 speed investment, I will still outspeed everything on his team, even if it's Scarfed. Because you can't run a Scarfed Mega Alakazam. And I believe he even outspeeds Scarfed Latias, which is amazing and just so great. Anyway, rocking Adamant because I needed the extra power over the speed. Full HP so I can maybe take a couple hits and live a little better. And yeah, that's the set for Terrakion. Now we're moving on to my special wall breaker, Alduin the Hydreigon. Full special attack set with Choice Scarf, mild nature, so I'm hitting a little harder than with something like Timid. And he's running Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, and Superpower. Superpower is mostly just for the Empoleon. All my other coverage moves hit his other Pokemon better. Draco Meteor hits everything that's not named Heatran, and for that I have Earth Power. And Dark Pulse just hits the Alakazam harder and doesn't have the defense drop, the special attack drop rather, that Draco Meteor does. So, and that's a lot more helpful in my opinion. Anyway, this is my main response. It can also almost one-hit KO almost everything on his team. The only thing I need to watch out for is Scarfed Latias and Scarfed Staraptor, because they can both one-shot me and are faster than me, even with full speed investment. So, well, this isn't full speed investment, but at full speed investment, they still outspeed me, which is why I decided to run Mild over Hasty, which boosts speed instead of special attack. Alright, but in any case, next up is the Don, my Don fan. And kind of an interesting set this week, bringing defensive, full defense, full HP, with a little bit in attack. Stealth Rocks, Ice Shard, Earthquake, Toxic. Earthquake hits everything not named Staraptor or Latias, and Ice Shard hits those two for super effective damage. Also could help me probably finish off the Crocodile if I really need. This is also my primary switch-in to Crocodile as well, because it can take any of the hits it wants to throw at me. I don't think he's going to bring water or ice-type coverage. I don't think he gets grass-type coverage. Even so, I should be able to take those hits relatively well and fire off a Toxic on the Crocodile or even the Latias if he decides to switch that in. That would be great. Get some chip damage and put those Pokemon on the timer. So anyway, I'm running Impish, so that defense is boosted to the maximum, and minus special attacks, I have no need for that. Also, I'm not running Rapid Spin on this thing because I have Rapid Spin on my Bowser, which is my Blastoise. This is a full attack Blastoise. This is hopefully going to be my sweeper. At least that's what I'm hoping anyway. And actually, you know what? I think over leftovers, I want to run Assault Vest so that he can take hits a little better from the special side anyway. So let me just fix that up. And okay, so my plan with this thing is to get Volbeat to baton pass a tail glow and a tailwind to this thing, because if I can get that done, this thing basically sweeps his entire team. I mean, Hydro Pump. Well, let's start with actually coverage. Ice Beam hits the Latias, and at +3 can Oko. Anything that's not a bulky set, but even with a bulky set, I can 2-hit KO and he can't kill me in one hit. Against the Empoleon, I brought Aura Sphere so that I am able to get some super effective damage, and he can't do much to me in return. Hydro Pump hits everything else pretty well. I have Ice Beam hits the Staraptor a little better, I suppose. But yeah, at +3, this thing just destroys the team. So it's just, Mad Archer is not going to be expecting this, I don't think. I honestly was not expecting to run this set as well, but when I looked at how powerful it was with the tail glow, I decided I just had to bring it. Alright, so last but not least is Lunatic, the Jirachi, making a comeback. This time, a little bit of a different set. I'm running a specially defensive set. This is my main response to things like his Empoleon, things like his Latias, and even against his Heatran a little bit. I mean, I can't do much to him, but I could try. And also his Mega Alakazam. So I'm running U-Turn, Wish, Thunder Wave, and Drain Punch. Thunder Wave, obviously, to slow down and cripple a lot of his Pokemon. Wish for just that healing and support to my team. Drain Punch hits the Heatran, hits the Crocodile, hits the Empoleon really nicely, where otherwise I wouldn't really be able to touch them. And U-Turn just for some momentum, maybe to get that Wish Pass into something else without using Baton Pass. Yeah, anyway, just a very bulky, very specially defensive set. So yeah, this is the team for the Phoenix Sunkerns Week 4. So I'll see you guys in the battle. Last thing, I'm really sorry I haven't been uploading recently. I've been like trying to juggle school and work, and then my recording software kind of crashed, so I had to get the full version now. So that's a good thing. I have my recording software and it's done. That's good. But I actually couldn't even access my old videos that I wanted to post in the meantime, so I had to do that. And on top of that, Google Chrome crashed at one point, and I almost lost all my teams, but I managed to recover them. So again, I'm really sorry. I know it's been like 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. I don't remember since I had this up, but hopefully I will be making a comeback, and you will be seeing a lot more of your Phoenix Sunkerns. So if you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. I love hearing from you guys, and I will see you champs in the next video.